is Joe Popp.
No, you never heard of me before. Probably because I've never focused on doing just one thing. I've been a skateboarder, movie actor, amplifier builder, steel drummer, playwright, motorcyclist, effects pedal creator, comedian, Eiffel Tower sound recordist, punk rocker, filmmaker, recording studio designer, singer-songwriter, computer tech, theater actor, and a professor of rock. I've led a charmed life, but I'm still hungry for more adventure. Middle age has passed me by, but I'm not letting a small detail like that stop me from taking one last epic journey. A non-stop tour of the 48 contiguous United States as a singer-songwriter on a motorcycle. Follow along as I meet people, visit places of interest, eat the food of America, and play concerts as I zigzag on my bike across the country. I'll also be surprising folks with pop-up performances everywhere and anywhere I can. You'll never guess where I'll show up next. So hop aboard and join me for the ride of a lifetime. Man, bike, guitar.
Popp Over America.
So here's where I'm starting, at my apartment on Central Park West. I know what you're thinking, rich people. Not exactly. I'm a basement dweller, which means I share a peaceful coexistence with rats and roaches. It's a pretty quiet apartment most of the time, with the occasional subway rolling by and a garbage bag thrown by my window.
It's damp, and although I live alone, I have my fair share of uninvited guests.
Electrical meters. That little guy didn't make it. Here's the rat feeding trough. This is where they come to get nice and plump. Beautiful Central Park apartment.
I'm traveling as light as possible because one of my saddlebags has been replaced by another passenger, my guitar.
Oh yeah. It's my dream guitar. Gibson J200 Jumbo.
Pinned to a board waiting for dissection. Against my will I take injections. Force-fed grindings from inhabitable substance. Looks the same going in and coming out. Red dye number 5, just so you'll survive. Watch as it slowly die. I'm a lab rat, oh baby, I'm a lab rat. Just as I'm ready to leave, the snap ring falls off the lock tumbler of my top case. New York keeps moving around me as I struggle for 45 minutes to get it back together. A wise guy sanitation worker jokes that he can fix the case for me by tossing it into his garbage truck. His joke was just what I needed to lighten up the situation. The lock's not fixed correctly, but I arrive at a workable solution involving duct tape. I finally get the bike fired up and I'm on my way towards my first state, New Jersey. I wanted to start where I started. There's an old adage, you never see a motorcycle parked at a psychiatrist's office. There is something about being on two wheels that makes my problems dissolve. Oh, there's no time left for Freud. He just fell into a mental void. Now he's gone. Freud is gone. Oh, sitting back while stroking his beard. The prognosis is worse than fear. That's Freud. Talking about Freud. There is no time for Freud. There is no time for Freud.
On June 11th, 1965, I was born at this very hospital, Morristown Memorial. My dad had a Saab dealership at the time, and he needed to get back to work. So he just dropped my mom off at the emergency ward, and by the time he got back to work, there was a phone call saying I was born. I wanted to come into the world quick, and I did.
The next point on the map would be where I spent the next 12 years of my life, East Hanover, New Jersey. I headed to the home where I grew up as a boy. I was lucky to run into the daughter of the family we sold the house to in 1977. She didn't want to be on camera, but she let me look around.
So yeah, this is the house I grew up in. Wow, this is so amazing. I haven't been in here in...
I can tell you everything because we're the owners after you. I lived here my whole life.
Wow, okay.
Oh, wow. Marshall, come here.
So I could take you up to my room. This was my bedroom. My brother Tom and I shared this room, and my sisters were in the room over there. This room was really important to me because this room was our music room. And my father had a bunch of instruments here, guitars, zithers, banjos, and he would let us play in here anytime we wanted. Just go in here and have fun with it.
Like ancient hieroglyphics, remnant drawings of my past remain.
There's your name right there to the left.
Oh my gosh. This is one of my drawings, I know, because this is how I used to draw cars with this big box thing, like a Duesenberg or something that my father probably showed me. But just an incredible memories of this place. So there's me. Joe, it's light. Up. We drew these targets and we'd throw knives at them. There's still knife marks in there. We were pretty crazy kids. But that's so amazing. My name's still on the wall. And I remember this is where I had my first mini bike ride. My first motorized two-wheel vehicle was in this very yard. My brother gave me a ride on his gold mini bike, and from then on it was over. I just wanted to be a motorcyclist from then on.
I reluctantly said goodbye to 10 Wildwood Avenue and ventured on to some other haunts of my youth. My old grammar school, my old middle school, the site of my first bicycle accident. I'm surprised what these markers of my youth are triggering as I pressed on.
This is Lurker Park, the site of my first real makeout session. Behind me is a driveway that they used to flood and freeze in the wintertime so we could skate. It was here I asked Betsy Cutter to go steady with me, or as we said in the day, go with me. I bought her a hot chocolate, and after that it was on. We made out on a snowbank until our parents came and picked us up. It was awesome. A few weeks later, I returned from a trip I was on with my father. We were scouting new homes for our family in Florida. And on my return, I realized Betsy Cutter had broken up with me and now was dating Nino Bio, my arch nemesis. I was so sad. I bought her this orange gum that was in a net that looked like a bag of oranges, and I was going to give it to her as a gift. I got it in one of the souvenir shops in Florida. And I thought this was just a great gift, you know, I was going to impress her. Look, I went to Florida, I'm a big shot. And I wasn't able to give it to her because she broke up with me. So heartbroken, I was crying and laying on my mom's lap, and a strange thing, I just took all the gum and shoved it all in my mouth and started chewing it, my cheeks bulging out from the gum. And I'm sure my mom did all she could to keep from laughing at the time because I must have looked ridiculous, but it was my first heartbreak, and I don't think you ever forget that.
Rain began to fall.
This is St. Rose of Lima Church. The significance of this place is that it's the first time I've ever seen an electric guitar plugged in and amplified. Another cool thing is I remember while I sang that the sun would beam through the windows and the light shining through the stained glass would hit my face with red and blue colors, and I felt like those were my stage lights as I sang.
Stained glass is in my blood and started back with my great-grandfather. My cousin Judy and her husband James operate Hemer Stained Glass Studio in Clifton, a business that has been handed down through many years.
Our family got involved in the stained glass business 3 generations ago. Our great-grandfather was an artist and was actually asked to leave his family of farmers because they didn't want to support an artist. So they paid him off, and he went to art school in Munich, Germany, and became a stained glass designer. He worked as a head of a designer at a studio there, the Von Gerichten Studios, and his son followed in his footsteps, serving an apprenticeship there, and eventually he moved to the United States after traveling the globe, and he settled in with the studio branch from the Von Gerichtens in Columbus, Ohio. That studio collapsed during the stock market crash of 1929, so our grandfather Ed and his father George, with another artist, picked up the contracts that were incomplete and started Edward W. Hemer and Company. Eventually they moved to Clifton, New Jersey because they specialized in Catholic churches, and this is kind of the center of the Catholic population, you know, Boston to Washington and into central Pennsylvania.
What do you think is the future of stained glass?
It's question we're asking ourselves.
Yeah, we've had some, real tough times lately, and we're just plugging away as hard as we can. We want to keep this business here. Neither one of us want to do anything else until we retire, if we can retire. That's what happens to most old stained glass men. They never retire. So my father-in-law, lucky enough that I did come into the business, work with Judy so he could retire. So maybe that's our plan, right? Get our kids to come in, take over so we can retire someday. So,
Are you looking for work?
The rain began to fall heavier. And heavier still. But I had a schedule to keep, and I'm a good wet weather rider. I have excellent rain gear and the best tires money can buy to keep me stuck to the road. The focus required does make for intense riding. The downpour stopped as suddenly as it began, and the gray clouds rolled behind me, leaving clearing skies.
I'm here at High Point State Park. The significance of this place is that my mom brought us here when we were kids. We didn't have a lot of money, so my dad would hand her $10 and she'd find interesting things for us to do. It was a really cool trip because these roads are pretty treacherous around here. Even on my motorcycle, I had a hard time getting up here.
I sat at the base of the 220-foot obelisk, a monument to veterans of war, and I was stunned by the vastness and the beauty around me. It is no secret that New Jersey is the butt of many a joke. George Carlin even worked a bit into his routine, referring to New Jersey as the toll booth state. I'm guessing George never sat here. The park landscaping was designed by the Olmsted brothers in 1923. They were the sons of Frederick Law Olmsted, who designed Central Park in New York City. The brothers were visionaries like their dad. They realized that green space is a precious commodity and can rarely be reclaimed. I saddled up and rode on. I stay as focused as I can when I ride to be safe. But like Robert Persig, author of the book Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, being on the bike is a place for contemplation. Visiting my old hometown made a particularly clear point. Life is filled with ups, downs, love, heartbreak, friendship, accidents, and inspiration. Happiness is a moving target and not a state of being. The final destination of the day was my old friend Steve's house. He moved his wife Sylvia and two girls Stella and Scarlet out here to the burbs to escape the rat race and ridiculous real estate prices of New York City. Steve not only offered to feed me and the crew, but also promised to teach me a new skill as well. My friends Kel and KP were also visiting to provide moral support. I consider these people my extended family. I've never been camping before, and my dear friend Steve, who's an avid camper, is going to show me how to set up a tent. In trailer park heaven. I'm sick of being inside a trailer park heaven. Maybe a double wide. We'll have some kids with a little love. The movie just picture of trailer park heaven. For you I often cry. Trailer park from my mind you are so far. With a plexiglass window overlooking the yard. Trailer park outliving you someday. From this apartment complex, won't you take me away? In trailer park heaven. Trailer park heaven. Trailer park heaven. Popp Over America, now camping. After my camping training and a fantastic meal, it was time to sing for my supper.
Carl Sagan said there are billions and billions of stars. So did Galileo and Copernicus. Sitting on my fire escape, but they seem so far. Haven't moved a beat on my abacus. Where are the billion stars? Tell me, where are the billion stars? Thank you, thank you.
Before calling it a night, we wanted to reach out to another member of our extended family that couldn't make the party, our dear friend Jenny. Hey, Jenny! We all wanted to say hi to you. We did a little concert. We played Legs of Cement. We were talking about you, so we wanted to say hi to you.
Hi, guys.
How you doing?
Jenny, my fronas!
Jenny was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis in 2010. She fights the disease every day with a special diet and a regimen of supplements.
I'm so happy to see everybody, and of course, I'm not there.
Well, we'll get you here soon.
It was nice to have her join us virtually,
We'll get you here
even though
soon.
she couldn't be here in person.
Before the summer's over, I want to see everybody.
Jenny's smile reminds us that no matter what hand we're dealt, happiness is always possible.
All right, well, we're going to say goodnight and keep hanging in there, okay?
Of course. I miss y'all. Have fun.
Okay. We'll call you tomorrow. Bye.
Patterson, once known as Silk City. My grandfather was part owner of the silk dyeing business during the 30s and 40s. The factories at the time were fueled by the hydroelectric power generated by the Great Falls. Wheels that used to turn no more. Console that funneled the notes, wheeled out the door. The vibrations left behind will always haunt my mind. The deconstruction of a magnetic place. Deconstruction of a magnetic place.
So I'm really lucky to be talking to Ernie Hernandez today. I met Ernie one time while visiting the falls, and Ernie's going to tell us a little bit about what goes on here. Give us a little history of the falls and kind of the significance past and present.
It was established in 1792. The very famous thing about the falls is it was discovered by a gentleman by the name of Alexander Hamilton in a crusade with then General George Washington. We talk about it because of all the diversity and the immigrants that came to the United States. At one time, we had the most houses of worship in Patterson.
I understand the area is going to be revitalized. Has that been funded, and what's going on with the revitalization efforts of the falls?
Well, since the park just became a national park, it's the 397th park of the National Park Service System, so we're acquiring or taking care and maintaining some of the city's beauty.
I remember the walking bridge from the first season of The Sopranos. Tony had some of his goons throw a guy over the edge. Do people visit the falls just because it's a Sopranos location? Does that happen?
They did come film here in The Sopranos, and actually in the show, Tony gave the order, and he went down in Atlantic City, and everybody thought the falls were in South Jersey. Technically, the falls are up here in northern Jersey, in Patterson, New Jersey. And actually, the story goes, from what I understood, everyone was arrested for not getting a permit at some point from dropping the dummy at the point of the video when it's being filmed.
You think we'll be arrested today?
No, we should be okay.
So my grandfather told me, I don't know if this is a myth, but he said he jumped from the top of the falls and dove into the Passaic River below, and he ruptured his eardrum, and that's how he lost his hearing. Is that possible? I mean, can you jump from these falls?
I wouldn't know about the rupturing the eardrum. Maybe that was getting smacked around or something. But I actually do know that we had a gentleman named Samuel Patch, or otherwise known as the Jersey Jumper. He actually did jump from these falls, which are 77 feet high. And he also jumped as an adventurous from that other place that's our arch rival, Niagara Falls.
The first time I met you, you had this huge smile on your face, and you gave me a little bit of your history of your job here. Why do you always have this big smile on your face? You like your job that much?
My office, I look at this all day. Can you complain?
No.
No.
Awesome. When you come to Patterson Falls, you're certainly no stranger, especially if you're running to Ernie the Park Ranger. He's got so much knowledge, all the things you should know, especially kind to me, and my name is Joe.
There you go.
Thank you, Ernie. My grandfather's a really neat guy. He used to bring me to very cool events, one here at Hinchliffe Stadium called Hell Drivers. It was a stunt car show, and these guys were doing all kinds of crazy stunts in this very stadium. Back then, it was beautiful, and now it's fallen into a state of disrepair. I understand there's efforts to restore it, and I hope that gets done soon. There's so much history here at Hinchliffe Stadium. I think it would be amazing to get it back to its former glory.
There was no way I was going to come to Patterson, New Jersey without stopping in one of my favorite hot dog places, Libby's Lunch.
This place has been established in 1936, and we're the third owners, and we specialize in hot Texas wieners, and a very family-oriented business.
Bula, tell me how a Texas wiener is different from a traditional chili dog.
Well, our Texas wiener is a deep fried hot dog, and it's topped with onions, mustard, and chili sauce. And the chili sauce has a bit of a kick to it.
I noticed it's a little bit more liquidy than like a standard chili. Is that just the traditional way they make it?
This is the way we've made it. I mean, my parents owned the business for 34 years. It's always been the same. It's the same recipe from the 1930s.
And it's Greek, from the Greek immigrants that came here. So some of the spices are specifically Greek. Is that correct?
Some of the spices are used in the Greek ima sauce, which is a meat sauce that's used on pasta.
We sell the sauce by the pint and the quarts. And even if they move away, they always find their way to come back to get sauce. My husband, when he came here, he was only 21. And when we got married, I got married young. And my husband's dream was always to open a restaurant. When he showed me this place, he said, I found the perfect place, I want to open a business. And he drove me here, and I came up in the front of the building, and he brought me in, and I was like, oh my God. I ended up helping my husband because the place was so busy. And one thing led to another, and before you knew it, we were working 7 days a week, 14, 16-hour days. It was just like, you just got into the business.
You must have loved your husband.
Oh, I love my husband.
There you go. Now you have 3 kids, and this is a
Yes.
family-run business. Is there any aspirations for those kids to go in, come and run Libby's?
I mean, my kids are here all the time. They eat here twice a week. I'm not going to force them into doing this. It's up to them where, which direction they want to go in. I'll support them, whatever they want to do.
George, tell me about the first jobs you served here while you were started at Libby's. What did you do?
My father made me clean, sweep, mop, clean pots, and do all the dirty work.
And did you used to have one hot dog for them, one hot dog for me? Did you take some of the food off the grill?
There was no time to eat.
So Heidi, I gotta ask, can I have the secret recipe?
Yeah, that might be possible. Vol, I need the secret recipe, please.
Oh, yeah, we have it ready for you.
Here you go.
Oh, I have to bring it to the lab and reverse engineer it. Oh, Libby's lunch, Libby's lunch. I love you, Texas Wiener's gonna eat a bunch. Libby's lunch, Libby's lunch. The skin has such a sweet, tasty crunch. Libby's lunch. Woo! I said goodbye to Patterson and headed towards New Brunswick, where I had a gig booked at the Scarlet Pub. When I started planning Popp Over America, my intention was to do all solo shows. But lately I've been rehearsing with my longtime friend, Sean O'Donnell, and I somehow talked him into playing this gig.
Do you know the difference between a spider and an octopus? One's stuck in the ocean, the other's free in the woods. Do you know the difference between a spider and an octopus? You made straight A's in college, but you never learned enough. Spider or octopus? Tell me, spider or octopus? Say it! Spider! Octopus! I can't hear you! I say spider! Give me a big octopus! Hell yeah! Oh, do you know the difference between a spider and an octopus? One might do a thing, yeah, the other just sucks the blood. Do you know the difference between a spider and an octopus? Don't think you do. Don't think you do. I don't think you do. That's no reverb, ladies. Good night, Scarlet Pub. We love you all equally. We'll be here every Tuesday through Thursday till August.
After a great show like last night, nothing beats a big breakfast to refuel. Another New Jersey staple besides the Texas Wiener is the pork roll sandwich, and nobody does it better than Slater's Deli in Leonardo.
Okay, and here you go.
Ah, my sandwich.
Look at that, Joe. How's it look?
Looks beautiful. Ralph, this is your specialty. This is
That's
your...
it.
Your
The one
crown jewel.
and only Slater's pork roll, egg, and cheese.
I grew up in Jersey and we ate pork roll, and when I moved somewhere else, no one knew what pork roll was. Can you describe what it is?
I would love to describe what it is. If I knew what was in it, I would describe what it is. But it's actually like a smoked ham that you cook on a grill, and it's just known in New Jersey. It's not anywhere else. It's like a religion in New Jersey.
And you were voted the best pork
by the
roll
Asbury
sandwich?
Park Press. It was put out to a vote by their readers, and obviously a lot of our customers responded to it, and we won by quite a big vote.
So describe to me what is on the sandwich.
Okay, 6 slices of pork roll or Taylor ham. There's 2 eggs, 4 slices of cheese, and home fried potatoes with peppers and onions in them that are cooked right on the grill. Joe! Delicious, right? Oh man, I mean, it's just...
Okay, Ralph, so this definitely is the best pork roll sandwich I've ever had.
I appreciate it,
It's
Joe.
unbelievable. So I saw your dad, Ralph
Okay.
Sr., behind the counter. I saw your aunt works here as well, and you work here. And what's it like being in a family business? When I was a kid, I grew up working in my dad's muffler shop, and I remember quite a few fights. So how do you guys get along?
Well, I
here?
wouldn't actually describe them as fights. I mean, we get along very well. And you have your moments where you don't agree on things, but we always agree we'll talk it out, and then it's over with. There's never any lingering effects or anything like that. It just doesn't happen. So we try, you know what I mean? Take a lot of pride in it. My father's, I learned a lot from him. I mean, he's 72 years old, and he's got the work ethic of it's just amazing. He's here every day, 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. There's a lot more going on than just the business itself, you know what I mean?
Right.
And something different every day. Different people, different sandwiches, different things, all of that stuff. So, and it's fun. I really do like it. I enjoy it. I wouldn't want to do anything else. I really would. I couldn't do anything else. I really could. And as far as going to work for somebody now, that could never happen. It's not all about the money all the time. It really is. And I mean, you have to make a living, you know that. But it's not what it's always all about. It really isn't.
Want something in your belly? You head to Slater's Deli. They got the pork roll. Fill up your soul. Talk to Ralph or talk to Ralph. They'll put something in your mouth. That's Slater's Deli. Ralph, thanks so much for having me at your restaurant.
Joe, it was a pleasure.
Beautiful
talking
place,
to you.
and I'm gonna finish this baby before I hit the road again.
Enjoy the rest of your trip, and I hope it all works out for you, Joe. It was a pleasure to have you. Thank you.
Bye, Ralph.
With my belly full and a smile on my face, I headed to Asbury Park. The seaside town was a must-see tourist spot up until the 1960s when the luster had finally worn off. But as of 2007, there's been a resurgence here. The boardwalk and beaches are populated with fun seekers once again, and new attractions provide both amusement and history.
There's a radiance from a window, it's glowing. She's the only thing that keeps me going.
I'm here at the Silver Ball Pinball Museum in Asbury Park, New Jersey, reliving some of my old childhood memories. Cool thing about this place is I have pinball machines dating back to the 30s, and they're all kept in pristine shape. Woo! It's interesting how pinball machines have changed over the years. The playing surface has definitely increased in angle. As you can tell by this level, the bubble's on the middle of the second line. The newer machines, you get more of an angle like that, much steeper. Another thing that's changed on pinball machines is the scoring system. You can see this machine has 3 mechanical wheels and a light indicating a 1, maximum score being 1999. The new machines have digital scorekeepers that go into the billions. Taking it to school. Kiss, we meet again. I remember this machine from 1979 when it first came out. I was able to turn it over back then. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that today, though. Ah! Come back! In 1973, Bruce Springsteen recorded this album, Greetings from Asbury Park. In 1974, this club opened called the Stone Pony.
This cathedral of rock has launched the careers of Bruce Springsteen, Southside Johnny and the Asbury Jukes, and Bon Jovi.
I've never been lucky enough to play at the Stone Pony, but I'm only 50, so maybe there's still a chance.
Back on the road again, I was headed for another beach town that is not known for being so quaint. Atlantic City. The first boardwalk in Atlantic City was built in 1870 for the purpose of keeping sand out of the hotel lobbies. It was originally taken down at the end of each season. At one time, the boardwalk was 7 miles in length, but it's now just over 4 miles long. I was beat from driving all over New Jersey, so I decided to employ a classic form of boardwalk transportation, the rickshaw rolling chair.
You can't really talk about Atlantic City without talking about gambling. Gambling was legalized here in 1978. The only other city at the time to have gambling was Las Vegas. So it was a pretty big deal back in the late 70s.
The evening began to fall. The large video displays foreshadowed in Blade Runner are now a reality. Seagulls floated like dust particles, gobbling up bugs in the artificial light. I tried my hand at a few games and wound up planted at a digital blackjack table. With the odds of gambling, if you play long enough, you will lose. I took out $100 from the ATM and planned on losing it all. At one point, my pot was up to $175. One of my crew members went to grab me a beer, and by the time she returned, I'd lost all of my winnings plus the original $100. I can see how this addiction can take hold. The arrogance of winning grabs you the minute you get a few dollars ahead. And when you lose, you believe you're just one bet away of getting back even. It almost never works that way. I seem to have packed a week into the first 3 days of this trip. Tonight I finally got a chance to cut loose. I participated in the debauchery that is Atlantic City by having my share of drinks and, yes, entering a dance contest. My adrenaline was pumping, but tomorrow would be a big day, so I eventually ran off to bed. I arrived at New Jersey Motorsports Park. They were holding a vintage motorcycle show and races at the track. When I arrived at the tent where I was performing, there was no sound system. They did provide not one, but 2 generators for power. Unfortunately, I didn't have anything to plug into them. I talked to the organizers, and they assumed I would be bringing my own sound. I thought they knew I was traveling by motorcycle. But a gig is a gig.
Used to pull fishing by the ton. Now I'm lucky if I get one. Used to be so much fun. A fisherman's solitude. The fisherman's solitude.
The show was filled with great old bikes, some that I owned and some that I dreamed to own. I blabbed with some of the motorcyclists at the show. I enjoyed being among like minds.
Tell us a little bit about, what you enjoy about cross-country motorcycle driving, long-distance driving, anything like that.
Well, cross-country, if you got to go fast, you got to take the interstates. But once you get out west, there's a lot of national parks you can go to. There's a lot of camp. If you're going to camp, which we camp a lot, I pull a pop-up camper with my...
On your bike?
I got several bikes with trailer hitches. I have one with a sidecar on it.
You said you go with your wife. Does she enjoy it as much as you do?
Oh yeah, we've been traveling together since 1978 and camping.
And how long have you been a motorcyclist?
Well, I'm 74 years old, and I've had my own motorcycle since I was just after my teens, so it's over 55 years. So.
Awesome.
And we enjoy traveling that way.
I headed over to the track to see the vintage bikes in action. This type of racing is a labor of love. There aren't many fans in the seats, and it's more expensive than most hobbies. But to some, the siren song of riding fast on an old bike can't be ignored.
A huge dream of mine when I was a kid was to be a motorcycle racer. And although I've never done it yet, I promised myself I'm going to be out on track with these guys one day.
Motorcycling is more than riding and racing to me. My father taught me to be mechanical from a very young age. He instilled in me the do-it-yourself ethic of not being afraid to take things apart. I believe fixing and maintaining a motorcycle is half the joy of owning one. I had one more day in New Jersey, but my Kickstarter money was gone. I'd be filming D.I.Y. for the rest of the trip. I said goodbye to the crew.
Popp Over America!
part of the tour, I knew I was going to have to stop in Wildwood. When I was a kid, my parents scrimped and saved money so we could get a hotel room right here on the beach. We swam in the water, we hit the boardwalk, we rode rides, played games, but unfortunately my brothers and I walked through a patch of tar, and we tracked it all through the hotel room, totally embarrassing my parents. It seemed a lot of our vacations ended that way.
This is the third boardwalk I've been on in 2 days. There seems to be a common goal with people heading to the shores of America: fun. I remember this place vividly, and the voice of the trolley driver echoing across the boards. "Watch the train car, please." Time has seemed to have stopped here with familiar storefronts, rides, roller coasters, and games. I reminisced at some of the arcades by playing skee-ball. I even tried my luck at a motorcycle video game, and according to my score, I should not be allowed on a bike. I smiled as I looked at the parents with their kids on a mission to have fun, spending their hard-earned dollars for an experience greater than the normal day in and day out of work or school. As my tour of New Jersey comes to a close, I've decided there's one more stop to make it complete. Sunset Beach in Cape May is at the very bottom of the state and supposedly has gorgeous sunsets. I took a stab at capturing one. The drama I sought fizzled as the sun was obscured behind clouds and the sky went from hazy to dark. But as often happens in life, while seeking a goal, we wind up in a more meaningful place. Every summer since 1975 on Sunset Beach, there has been a flag lowering ceremony conducted to honor a fallen veteran. Once lowered, the flag is given to the family of the departed. I came for the sunset, but what I got was an experience so much more moving than an orange ball sinking into the ocean. What a beautiful way to complete the state. I've had such a blast so far. Eating, riding, playing, writing goofy jingles, and spending time with old friends and new. If this past week is any indicator, I'm in for the ride of my life. That's one state down and 47 to go. Stay tuned for my next episode. Man, bike, guitar.
Popp Over America.
Popp Over America is made possible by support from Coffee, carbon fiber musical instrument cases, protection, style, service. Corbin motorcycle seats and accessories, the world's finest motorcycle saddles since 1968. And D.I.Y strings.
Did I stammer? Get me a jackhammer. Try to explain as you try not to understand. Needless pins stab into my shins. Please don't ask, no, I don't want your reprimand. Oh, cruel, slippery eels poisoning my sea. Still one by one into potent cruelty. Dying in this wool, every watt of energy spent. Won't somebody take these legs of cement? These legs of cement.